Sir, we can start now. Hello.
Yeah, is the session getting recorded?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Thank you. Welcome everyone. Welcome back to GSTZen and GST Learn monthly webinar series. And this is yet another session where we are looking at how do you bring automation in your GST litigation management. In today's session, we are going to discuss about what are the various types of notices that would be where you can anticipate in the GST and how GSTZen can assist you in automating your replies to the notices. Just to give you about GSTZen, GSTZen is an ASP and a GSP. On our platform, we have around 18,000 plus customers who are handling different types of services. And predominantly, most commonly used features, which is filing GST returns, but reconciliation reports. And most finance professionals love the data which is coming in an Excel format. And that is where the power of GSTZen, all the data reports, which is there is a consolidated return filing status, where you get a view of the GST or 3B that is filed up to date. Let's say you're downloading in the month of August, the 5 months consolidated month over month, a comparative information, R1, 3B, 2A, 2B, by vendor, by customer, all kind of report, a consolidated report that comes, which is popularly used. And you have the customers from brick and mortar to an e-commerce companies, tech companies, fintech companies, to like mom and pop store, small store, to a listed companies. Like you'll find all kind of customers with us. And more importantly, the most loved feature, which is the integration of the books of accounts, especially Tally with the GSTZen. There are a lot of APIs provided by GSTZen, and which is one of the, again, popularly used is before making a payment to the vendor, where there is an add-on which is there in the Tally, where you can see if this invoice is reflecting, if this purchase invoice is reflecting in the government portal or not. Do you want to hold the payment or not? Likewise, there are many other reports, right? And we've been in this business from over 5 years, and there's a lot of customers who love our support team on a timely basis, the response that is done. With this brief introduction about GSTZen, again, welcome you all. My name is Venugopal Gilla. I'm a chartered accountant, and I've been in practice since 20 years. And again, GST is one core area of mine. I love teaching, and that's what I do regularly. Feel free to interact. Today's workshop is more to do with the notices. I'm sure most of you, some of you would have already received notices, handled notices. So what we are going to cover today is briefly looking at under which category of the notices that you would be getting it. Out of all the category, I would be touching upon 2-3 important category. Again, in the paucity of the time, we will be looking at some important category. And what is the time limit for you to respond, and what would happen if you don't respond? We'll briefly touch upon those things. But the critical part of today's discussion is my colleague Praneeth, who would be walking us through the automation that GSTZen provides in handling your notices more effectively. Right? This is the overview, and we would be concluding the session approximately around 3:50. Again, feel free to ask your questions, whatever you have on the subject which is of notices or anything relating to GST. And we do take these sessions regularly. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you will be getting the notifications of the sessions. Moving on to the aspects of the taxation per se, whenever you get a notice which is there in your hand, which is revolving on GST, it could be on the tax. When we say the net tax that you have to pay in cash is gross tax minus input tax credit. The gross tax minus input tax credit. Now, the most common thing in a litigation management or response to a notice, the moment someone is asking a demand, we get into an usual process of looking at whether we have paid the tax, we have not paid the tax, should we pay the tax, those questions. But maybe a step back, assessing the levy, assessing the correctness of the levy, assessing the correctness of the input tax credit reversal. When I say assessing the correctness of the levy, if someone is saying that books of accounts has a turnover of 1 crore, while your GST returns is saying a turnover of 95 lakhs and a 5 lakhs is short, and this 1 crore is evident from your P&L filed with ROC or the income tax or matching with 26 years. Hence, there is a difference of 5 lakhs and I'm taxing 5 lakhs at 18% is grossly wrong. That is not a way an show cause notice can happen. There are ingredients of taxation. All the ingredients of the taxation should be assessed before a levy is established. Just because there is a 5 lakh difference, that 5 lakh cannot be at 18%. It could be 28% also, or it could be 5% also. It could be anything, right? Now, that is where the questioning the question should also be there. So knowing that there are certain principles that needs to be addressed. Firstly, does it qualify as a supply? If it is a supply, is it a taxable supply or an exempt supply? If it is a taxable supply, is it a supply of goods or supply of service? What is the HSN? What is the rate of tax? And not just that, place of supply. Should this be an interstate supply or intrastate supply? The demand the officer is making, is he making a CGST, SGST or an IGST? And what is the time of supply? Just because I have an income in the P&L and I still have section 12 and 13 read with section 31, a different time of supply could be possible, right? If any of these ingredients are not satisfying, the levy would fail. Again, another simple example, if the levy of IGST, but while the tax officer has demanded CGST and SGST, and you can go back and establish saying that yes, there is an income that is escaped, but no income of CGST, SGST has escaped. The officer cannot now change, okay, anyhow, you have agreed that there is an income that is escaped, pay instead of IGST, CGST, SGST, not possible, or pay voluntarily IGST, not possible. There shall be a fresh demand for that tax has to be there. So that is why questioning the question, looking at these ingredients are important. Like I'm talking on levy and supply, you should also know the ingredients on input tax credit also is very important. Like there is a case where a dealer, a vehicle dealer who has discarded a vehicle and the officer has rejected the input tax credit while this being a blocked credit, and the reversal has been demanded under 17(5)(a), 17 subsection 5 clause A, where the vehicles used for the business input tax credit is not allowed. Well, the dealer is in the business of selling the vehicles, but the demand should have been because the blocked credit under 17(5)(h). So what plays an important role in response to any notice is understanding the principles of taxation being there or not, right? So this is the primarily I want you to bring a background to discuss on how one has to get into in handling various aspects of the tax matters. Sorry. All right. So let's now look at various types of notices that would be coming in. The notices under the GST, right? Under the GST, it is not there at one place. When you log into the GST portal, you will find the notices being there under notices tabs, additional notices tab, scrutiny of notices, scrutiny of returns. So there are different tabs under which you will have a notice. Now, notice is a very loosely worded statement. It could be an intimation, it could be a pre-consultation notice, it could be a show cause notice, it could be any document, communication also. So whenever I'm using the word notice, it really doesn't mean that I'm talking about a show cause notice. Unless I say it is SCN, it is not a show cause notice. Now, what is that you should be worried about whenever there is a communication? Definitely, whenever there is a communication from the department, you should attend to it. Whenever there's a department communication, you should attend to it. So you should always be on top of communications that are coming from the department. Now, when it comes to the registration, the immediate registration is REG1 when you make an application. Now, you might also have an acknowledgement. You might have REG3 asking, seeking additional information, or you have a REG6, which is saying confirming your registration, any different types of documents. Now, these are also communications from department. You should definitely be aware of. So on the portal, you need to see what are the documents that are coming. And when you also see, you will have this option to reply it on the portal. Sometimes you will also have an option to submit additional documents on the portal. You have all those options. Even that you need to see how that can be done. When it comes to the refund RFD forms, by the way, every communication with the department, every activity or every action has a specific form that has been defined. The respective form has to be used in all the cases. So you cannot have like a notice which is relating to assessment has to be in ASMT form. It cannot be a plain email or a letterhead of the stationery of the officer asking for an information. Under GST, for every activity, a specific form has been given. Like we talk about refund, RFD forms we use, ITC forms we use, audit, ADT forms we use, inspection, INS forms, assessment, ASMT forms, demand, DRC, movement of the goods, MOV forms. Right? These are the forms that have been specifically mentioned. So being aware of what type of the form it is and what should be my response or what should be the priority or understanding is it critical, not critical, very important. Nextly, consulting your chartered accountant for making a reply, waiting your reply, or getting an opinion on the tax matters is also important because the GST law is an evolving law and the opinions of one consultant to another change. The judgments of a high court do change. Given that being the positions, you should also be well aware as a matter of the second opinion, what is my recommended course of action. You should also be well aware of what is the timeline in which I should make a reply to a submissions. What happens if I don't reply to any of those within those timelines? What is the penal consequences? Also, is there any compounding of offenses if something is going to be like a recurring thing where the penalty is coming up heavily and you know that, okay, this is not an intentional something which has happened, where can I get this offenses be compounded? Or you have an unforeseen demand that has been raised and it is not arising out of your GST returns. Can I get this payment to be done under installment scheme with interest? Now, these are the various things you should also be aware of and you should have a consultant assisting you. All right. So next 10-15 minutes, I will be taking little important forms which are day-to-day more like 70 to 80% of the intimations, communications from the department under these natures. We will be taking that. Then we will move on to the demo. So what are the important forms? These are assessment related, where you have ASMT 1 up until ASMT 18. Now, what is assessment? Now, assessment is assessing, checking, giving correctness, is like deriving a value. GST has a lot of prominence to self-assessment. Section 59 of the Act talks about, as a taxpayer, you assess your liabilities and discharge by way of your GSTR 1 and 3B. Now, whenever you have a doubt, you can always approach to the department and seek for a provisional assessment whenever you have a doubt on what is the nature of the supply and time of supply or value of supply, right? So you can seek a provisional assessment under section 60. But you filed your returns, the department will make the assessment of the returns, that we call it as scrutiny of the returns under section 61. In case if you are not filing the return, so they cannot do an assessment. So department has no scope in GST to make an assumptions. Like in the first example, which I have mentioned, out of my value disclosed in the GST returns was 95 lakhs, while my income tax or P&L was showing 1 crore. So the difference 5 lakhs cannot be taxed, assuming at 18%. Assuming CGST, GST, no, department has no rights to it. The assessment under assumptions can be done by the department only in two situations. Situation number one, I am not filing my returns. So when I don't file the returns, so a department has no choice. The department has to make some assumptions. Section 62, assessment of non-filers, or someone who has not made a registration. Like I chose not to take a registration, deeming that my turnover threshold limit is sub 20 or 40 lakhs. Like, how can someone deem? Like, I am dealing in brokerage commission, so I am accounting commission as my income. While department may say, hey, look, you are dealing though commission, but you are looking as a principal and agent. I will be treating the gross value as a turnover. It could be anything, or I have treated everything as my exempt supply, while department says, no, I don't think it's an exempt supply. So whatever be the reason, I have not taken registration. Now department wants to make an assessment of mine. That's where section 63 comes, assessment of an unregistered person. Under an exceptional circumstances, there is a summary assessment where the department feels in the interest of the revenue, and if the taxpayer is likely to escape, go out of the country, go out of the tax net, whatever be the reason, they can do a summary assessment, right? Very rare cases. Now, when you make your self-assessment, what is it going to happen? Or when department is going to scrutinize the return, what is going to happen? Let's look at that. Now, let's start with the scrutiny made by the department. Now, when department is scrutiny, they will be giving you an intimation in the form GST A7010. That's the form. Now, what is that they are going to do? They can scrutinize the arithmetical accuracies. I file my GSTR1 with some values, e-invoice is with some values, e-bill is with some values, whatever. So they will be serving you a notice in the name of ASMT10, quantifying and asking you to provide an explanation within 30 days. The time, generally, the time limit for most of all of it is 30 days. Now, your response to the department would be in ASMT 11. As I said in the beginning, every document of the department is to be a specified document. Now, if the department finds that your answer is satisfactory, they will be issuing ASMT 12. Else, they will be recommending it for further demand and recovery procedures. We'll come to that in a while. Right. So, what is that recommendation the department can do? Department can say, hey, looks this needs a detailed evaluation. Why don't an officer do an audit or a special audit, or conduct inspection and do, if need be, any search or seizure. If nothing, the value is ascertainable, why don't you issue a notice under section 73, 74, right? These are any of the things that are possible. This is what department is going to do. Let's look at how the documents look like. right? So let me share you the format of the document that the department is going to issue. It would be showing something like that, like this. So, so and so financial period, I am seeing the values in R1 is so much, 3B is so much, there is a difference. I'm asking you to explain. And if no explanation is said, then you have nothing to say in this matter, and we will be going for further action, right? This is some format, and it would be uploaded online against any of the in the format asking you fixing a personal hearing. Now, if the everything is in order, okay, but still there could be a notices that can come other than ASMT10, like the errors in the returns file. Now, how do we find errors in the returns file? This is again quite common, which again everyone has to be aware. ASMT10. The next one should be aware is of DRC01B and DRC01C. Please make note of these numbers, DRC01B and DRC01C, because the lifespan for reply of these is 7 days. At least ASMT10 was 30 days, but this is 7 days. It is again, once you file your returns, section 59 is done. ASMT10 is manually issued by the officer. DRC is issued by the system after you file the returns. Some errors were noted in the returns. What are they? DRC01B is the difference between GSTR1 and 3B, R1 and 3B. DRC01C, Rule 88D, is difference between 3B and 2B. Right? We have two rules, 88C and D. So what is more important is these are not under notices section. Where do you find this? This you have to go to services, returns and written compliances. So not all documents are, you will find them at one place, you will find them under different places. Why are these issued? You will find DRC01B, which is R1 versus 3B differences, wherein there are two parts to it. Part A is system generated. Part B should be the reply of the taxpayer. Reply should be furnished within 7 days. Why is it coming? Value reported in R1 is higher than the value reported in 3B. If you don't reply, a recovery proceedings under section 79 would be initiated. Now, please note, if you have DRC01B, DRC01B, and you are not replying, a recovery proceedings under section 79 would start, which means they could go and do a bank attachment also. Why is there a recovery even without notice and other things? You must be surprised. We have section 75(12), which says that the values disclosed in GSTR1 is your self-assessment and they're deemed as liability. So if you have erroneously reported a 1 lakh revenue as 1 crore, it is your primary duty to reply back saying that, hey, I made a mistake. Please hold on. Do not collect any taxes. I will correct this. Now, how do you communicate this? So the reply that you will be giving, you will have to choose a reason. The reason could be there was an excess liability paid in the earlier periods. We have circular 26/26 2017, wherein they have permitted if you have erroneously paid an extra tax, you can adjust it in the next tax period. Or you have repaid the taxes and the declaration of values in the R1 is happening now. So you didn't declare in R1 in the last month, you are declaring in the R1 now. It could be that reason. Or the same example, 1 lakh became 1 crore, you want to correct it in the next period, no problem. I have reported the advance, but this month I forgot to make an adjustment of the advance. I reported the invoice, I have also reported the advance. Or if you find any other reasons, given either reasons. But responding to this to the department within 7 days is mandatory. Next is DRC01C, 3B versus 2B. So again, part A is issued by the system. As I said, Rule 88D says DRC01C, which is issued by the system part A. The reply would be in part B. If you are accepting it, you may make the payment in DRC03. In both the cases, the response should be within 7 days. And if you don't make your response, your GST or one of the next period is blocked. So 3B is blocked. The moment R1 is blocked, none of your customers will get a credit. It is a bigger problem. Like a delay in R1 filing by 1 day, it delays the input tax credit of all the people in the chain by a month. Like delay in 3B by 1 day, it is only interest at the rate of 18% for the cash portion for 1 day. Now, if you don't do what's next, the department will send a show cause notice under section 73, 74 for making the assessment of the taxes. So even here, your response in part B, you can choose any of these responses saying that the input tax credit which has not been availed in the earlier period has been availed now. Or I made a mistake, I will correct it in the later period. It was import of goods. Instead of putting under 4A1, I have reported under 4A5. Or I have reversed the input tax credit owing to non-payment to supplier within 180 days, Rule 37, Section 16, Subsection 2 proviso. So any of these, you are giving an explanations, right? And if these explanations are satisfactory, it will be dropped. Otherwise, it will go for further notice and intimation. So this is what we should also be aware of. So we have seen ASMT 10, we have seen DRC. Now the ASMT 13, this is also again more important. Now this is an assessment order under section 62. What did we say 62 for? Is someone who is not filing the return. He is regularly registered but not filed the return. Now what is the challenge in this? This is a best judgment. Best judgment is in the best of the wisdom of the officer, the judgment is happening. Now you are not filing the returns, maybe no cash flow, no business, but the officer thinks, okay, whatever is the turnover of the previous year, maybe it will increase at 14%. Any of 10-12% is the inflation. So my clients are always good. So let me add some 2-4% and he will send it. And he has a time limit for 5 years from the date of the annual returns to make the assessment. What is that you should do is within 30 days from the date of ASMT 13, file a return. When I say file a return, you file your 3B. Whether you file nil return or whatever be the return, file a return. Once you file a return, your assessment order is deemed withdrawn. Assessment order is deemed withdrawn. And if you don't file any reply within 30 days, or if you don't file your returns within 30 days, whatever is the assessment order originally issued will be deemed as the final demand for that tax period. Now, after 30 days, even though you file your return, this demand doesn't get vacated. You only have to go and appeal section 107. That is only the alternative for you to move forward. So this is how an intimation and first 3A. So that's the form that has been given where if you are not filing the return, so that would be given. And in spite of 3A, you are not filing any replies or filing the returns within 15 days of that document, then 62 would be invoked and an order under 62 would be issued with the detailing all the tax liability, demand and everything. I've just given you some sample how it would show up. ASMT 13, the non-filers, the recovery can be through bank attachment or a letter that would be written to the customers saying that do not make any payment to this so-and-so taxpayer, pay directly to the department, the GST government. So the recovery proceedings would also be initiated. So better be aware of it. These are the various ASMT forms which I wanted to discuss. ASMT 14 is just to give you that show cause notice for someone who has not even registered, who has unregistered, failed to obtain the registration. Even for them, if there is an intimation, so there will be a temporary registration which would be granted by the department. Proceedings would be done under that temporary registration and login would be given. Even here, the 5 years from the date of the annual returns, any of the person can be made assessed for, correct? This is one set of documents that you would come. Another set of documents that you would get is audit related. Again, this is quite common. You would have received the set of the document that would come is ADT01. It is someone intimating saying that I am coming to conduct the audit. And ADT01, when you are issued, so they would say that so and so period, I am going to come for the audit. So within the notice would be issued saying that I am coming for the audit. It could be a desk saying that I am here at my desk. You bring the documents, we can visit, we can conclude, or I will be coming to your premises, visit the premises. So within 3 months from the date of all the information that being furnished, the audit needs to be concluded. And the department has any findings, they will be issuing in ADT01A, where you will be making your submissions, replies that you will be giving. After the audit is done, they would be issuing a document called ADT02. Now, ADT02 doesn't need any reply. It's an audit observation. This is the final findings of the department audit. Post this audit, the file will be moved to the proper officer asking him, now I have done the audit, you can go ahead and do your demand recovery proceedings under section 73 or 74. Now, what is this demand recovery proceedings? There are different demand forms. I am going to touch upon few of the demand recovery forms. So section 73 and 74 is a very important section. Every person dealing with the GST should be aware of these two sections. 73 is demand being made in cases where the element of fraud or suppression is not there. Wherever there is an element of fraud or suppression or a willful misstatement, the demand or recovery is made under 74. 73 no fraud, 74 is fraud. What is being demanded? It could be tax short paid or not paid, or tax erroneously refunded back, or ITC availed, which you are not supposed to be availed. These are the three that would be demanded by the department. So tax, interest, or the ITC, right? The refund paid or the ITC. Now, what's the time limit? Time limit is there for 5 years. If it is a fraud or willful misstatement or suppression, the time limit is 3 years in any other matters. Even in cases of the fraud, there are matters that have been alleged in the show cause notice, only that will be having 5 years. There could be something which is not alleged in the show cause notice, and now coming up further, it's like if they're now taken up, so the time limit for them will only be 3 years. So it would be going back to the time limit of 73, right? So the limitation period is if they're demanding so much tax, they should also give you an intimation. What is the intimation? The intimation that they would be doing is within a period, the intimation that they would be doing within a period of 3 months before they are making a demand order. In case of section 73, it is within a period of 6 months in case of section 74. That means I need to have at least a sufficient time of 3 months to come back to you as an officer and discuss the case before you make up the mind and create a demand. So before the order is done, I should be having a clear 3-month window to come, make submissions, replies, and everything. So the show cause notice has a timelines. Now, the next thing that you should do is every time when you get a document, look at the timelines. Here are the timelines chart which I have presented, which should be aware of. There's one which is highlighted, so that 31st May expiring today is for the financial year 2019-20, a show cause notice under section 73 to be issued by today. If a notice, that is what is notice DRC01, I'll just quickly take you those numbers. that has to be issued. If it is issued dated today, then you are in a safe hands. That means it is the notice is there, you have time limit to reply. They have to make the order by 31st August. Let's say if they have made the order before 31st August, but the notice is issued after 31st May, it is not valid. On the contrary, if the notice has been issued before 31st May, but the order is made after 31st August, again that is not valid. Now there are some dates have come and that have been struck owing to the COVID, section 168A, they have taken special permissions and they have taken extension. So 1718 ideally should have concluded in 5th November 22 because 5th February 20 is where the annual returns have been done. Then there was extension happened. So all these dates have got extended. The actually original annual return due date was 31st December 2018. That means by 31st December 21 itself, my 1718 proceedings should have ideally be got over, which over the period got delayed. What you are seeing is 73 and on the right side corner 74. That means the first due date that is going to trigger is 31st August 24 of this year. 31st August 24 of this year, where the demand that can be given in events in case of the fraud. So these dates are also you should be aware of. Now, another thing that you should be aware of is the penalty and interest. In case of section 73, there is a penalty of 10% of the tax, but you can avoid this penalty if you are making the payment of tax within 30 days of the show cause notice. That means you should be aware that there is a show cause notice. So being aware of the information is always critical. If you know there is a show cause notice and within 30 days of the show cause notice, if you are making payment of the taxes, then there is no penalty. Whenever I'm saying taxes, it is tax along with the interest. If interest is not paid, where only tax is paid, again the penalty will continue. If the order, OIO is order in original, if the order has been issued, then you have a minimum penalty of 10% under section 73. In case of section 74, you have a minimum penalty of 15%. So even before the issuing of show cause notice, you are making up your mind and paying. So how will I know before show cause notice? There is a 7010 happened, or there is an assessment under 62 happened, or the ADT 0102 happened. So there are some events that have happened. INS1 would have been there, 67 odd inspection would have been there. Some events that have happened which led to a belief that yes, okay, this is a liability, let me pay it off. So if you are paying it before the show cause notice, then the penalty is only 15%. While if you are paying within 30 days of issue of show cause notice, then the penalty is 25%. Then you are not paying within 30 days of the show cause notice. If you are not paying within 30 days of the show cause notice, so there's a 6 months time window. Let's say in the month of August, the notice has been issued. By September, you pay, it is 25%, but you haven't paid. You have waited till the order has come. Within 30 days of the order, you are making the payment of tax and penalty. Then the penalty would only be 50%. So when tax and interest is paid, penalty would be 50%. And what is the interest? Interest is 18% is the interest, right? So friends, these are the various things that we should be aware of. Now, without wasting quickly, the numbers that you should be very frequently that you will be seeing or that you should be aware of is DRC 01, which is summary of the show cause notice. But some cases, you also have DRC 01A, like you don't have ASMT, you don't have section 65, then it is mandatory for them to issue DRC 01A, which is pre-consultation notice, which was there in service tax era, same intimation of the tax. So after that, DRC 01 would come, and that would be a detailed read with a summary statement. If you are making a voluntary payment, that is DRC 03, and DRC 05 is if all the proceeding, your notice, the pre-consultation notice and notice is being issued, is being paid, then they can also issue DRC05 saying that I'm concluding the proceedings. And what is more important is DRC07, a summary of the order. And in case if you find the order is wrong, you can make an application under section 161 and you can get a rectification of this order under DRC08. So these are the various forms that are available. Now, without wasting much time, I would request my colleague Pranit to take over the system and show his screen how GSTZen can help in automating and fetching all this information. I'll come back once we see the live demo. And feel free to put your questions in the chat window. We are here more time to take up the questions too. Pranit, over to you.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, Pranit. I'm software developer at GSTZen. So I'll be showing the demo walkthrough basically of notice management. So earlier we had notice tracker and additional notice tracker. So we have combined them and made a beautiful design out of it so that users can get a better view of the due dates of the notices. So let's begin. If there will be a status, if whether you have logged in or logged out of the portal. So if you want to refresh, you have to click on the refresh button. You'll be provided with the login screen. Then fill out the captcha verification. Then, okay, give me a moment. Okay, so the status will be updated. Now it's ready to fetch the notice from the portal. Okay, so now we can see that notices and orders have synced. We can view both notices and additional notices in the notices column, and same goes for the orders. So for the rest of the types, I'll show you demand as well, all the tax amounts, then even orders. If you want to download the document, you can do that. If you have multiple files, it will be zipped in under one. Then you can view if there are three PDFs, it will be zipped into one. Same goes for applications and intimations as well, and the replies. Then the main thing about notice management is that we give the today and upcoming events. Basically, these are marked on due date. Today, the events, the due date that are today, it will be displayed in the today table, and upcoming will cover almost 15 days of upcoming notices. So if you want to change the status or anything, you want to upload the attachment to the notice, you can click on this notice ID, so that you can change the status or upload any replies particular to that notice. And you can also view the attached files here. So yes, and we have also added the Zen GPT here. It's basically a question answering or bot. Basically, you can answer any of the GST related questions and it will give you a helping hand. That's all from me, sir.
Thank you, Pranit, for the quick demo. Let me. Okay, so just for again, for the benefit of everyone, let me also show you. This is the, when I log into GSTZen, I would be able to see the number of GSTNs, all the GSTNs that are being managed by me. When I click on the notice tracker, I am able to see all the notices that were available or that have come that I have not read or that I have to read, to which I like it can show this is the GSTN, this is the demand ID and issued by so and so. If there is a whatever is the demand amount which has been quantified is available at one place. So what is this notice tracker? As a taxpayer, like you might be a chartered accountant in practicing, handling so many clients, or you are a group CFO, you are handling different entities in the group, or you have multiple GST numbers. So these notices can be seen qua all the GST returns, qua PAN, so all the notices under single PAN, qua GST number, all the notices demands under single GST number. So in one place you will be able to see, and you can also track it into calendar, saying that okay, this is due on so and so, issued on this date, your reply date is this date. Even that is available. And even Pranit has shown up, which is the upcoming feature on the responses. Today we are moving to the world of GPTs. Thanks to chat GPT, the GPTs became popular. Otherwise, GPTs was there from last 10, 12 years, but the chat open AI has made it more open. And people are using it more extensively. Today, the technology is more sort of the tool, and any CA or any finance professional who is not using the technology is someone who would be lost in the game, right? So this notice tracker helps you to first get these notices downloaded from the portal automatically, because you have notices, additional notices, some are under compliances tabs, so different tabs it is there. Number one. Number two, it quickly grabs the information that is there, when it has been issued, when it is the due date to reply. Like you can see, it has been issued on so and so date, and there is a reply to be done by so and so date. So there are dates that have been fixed, and there is a demand that is there. So it would be giving you all the information by within what date you have to reply, right? And if there is no demand, it's like there is either demand not found, not available, things like that. And more importantly, I'm sure maybe in a month or so, the engineering team is doing a wonderful job assisting you. Can I make a draft reply automatically? Can a system analyze it and give it to me, saying that, hey, this is there in some 3, 4 pages he has given, but what is it trying to communicate? Can I analyze and give it? Can the system do? That is what the analyzer is going to do. That is the new thing that is coming up, and which you should be more looking at, right? So with this, I come to end of the presentation, and here are the coordinates. In fact, we have our own GST updates group. You can scan and join this updates group, so that the updates, you get the updates regularly. If you have any questions on how to handle these notices and how to automate getting the information from ERP to Zen, or Zen to your ERP, etc., you can always feel free to get in touch with us. The support number is support@GSTZen.in, and the contact mobile number is also there. The sessions are recorded. It's there in YouTube. You can just search GSTZen on the YouTube. You will find all the live sessions. In case if you have any GST related queries, feel free to reach to me. My email ID is there, venu@vnv.ca, right? I'll pause at this moment and I'll see what are the questions that have come. I'll take up the questions that have come, and we will allow people to unmute and ask if need be. Is the session recorded? Yes, it is recorded. It's available. There are a lot of emails on PPT. Okay. Srijit is asking, tax is not paid, is specified under 73, 74, and 76. What makes it different? Srijit, the taxes collected and not paid is section 76, while 73, 74 is an assessment. And in 76, there's a mandatory penalty of 10%, right? So if 3B filed late, can it be considered as a cause for issuing notice under section 76? Can be, yes, but department generally waits at least for a period of 3 months, allowing the taxpayer to make the payment of the taxes. Sunil is asking, ASMT 10 has been issued for 2A, 3B difference. reply has been given, but directly order has been given by considering our observations. Am I liable to pay interest before giving the order? They have not issued the show cause notice. So grossly, principles of natural justice has been violated. Without a notice, there cannot be an order. So this order is not tenable under the law.
Not interest, it's penalty, sir. Sorry. Am I liable to pay penalty? Typo error.
See, okay. See, the tax interest is consequential to the tax. And when it comes to the penalty, penalty is linked to the timeline of the show cause notice. Now, in your case, you say that there is no show cause notice, but that is something you can question in the appeal, saying that the penalty is not leviable. I am willing to pay that the thing. It was under 73, so you can take a plea saying that the 10% penalty is not applicable.
Okay, thank you.
Question from Rohit. What will be the approach to tackle the ITC mismatch show cause notice for financial year 1920? Since 2A is applicable from mid of 1920, can 16 conditions was used? Rohit, that is where I would request you to refer to circular 183 and 193, where they have also condoned saying that even if it is not there in 2A, but you can get a declaration the taxes have been paid by the supplier, the credit would be available.
Hello.
One second, sir. Let me take the questions and then I will. What is the process of ASMT 10 elimalizer? Elimalizer, the process is it would be intimated to you on the portal. So you have to make the reply ASMT 11 and sometimes a physical meeting would be called for.
Sir, good evening, sir. Yelmalai, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, today is last date for SC and ASM return.
Today is the last. No, today is not the last date for ASMT 10. Today
No. For SCN purpose, sir.
Pardon me, sir. Again, I didn't understand.
SCN, suppose notice, sir. Today is the last date, na?
Today is the last date. So
that's why I'm asking what is the procedure for ASM 10 notice. First ASM 10 notice issued, then again SCN issued, sir. DSC 01.
No. So the ASMT 10 is not the show cause notice. Today, DRC 01
Okay,
has to be issued for financial year 1920.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So ASMT 10 for 1718 can happen today also. Because
Okay, sir.
under section 74, the time limit is still there till 31st August. And audit for 1718 could also happen today also. The section 74 time limit is still not over. Okay, Utkarsh, I request you to mute others.
No, sir. ASM 10 department issued, but still not issued SCN. That's why I'm asking, sir.
Which is the period, sir? Which year?
1920, sir.
If it is not coming today, then as good that your case is closed. All right. Okay, so let me look at other questions. Supplier not generated invoice, but in 2B, it is there whether chance to get a notice. Yeah, see, Srijit, we also have Rule 36 permits you the documents. I think you can't be penalized for the supplier's non-compliance. Is there any reconciliation for reversal in GSTZen? So, Shakti sir, when you're uploading the ITC register, you can tag it whether you want to avail the credit and reverse. So, whether it is 4A5 and 4B1 or 4A5, 4B2. So, there's an option for tagging of each item in the GSTZen. ITC, CGST, SGST claimed instead of IGST for order passed under 1819. Is there any supporting case law? Santosh sir, you have to go for an appeal because the input tax credit per se, when you read 2 subsection definition of input tax credit 62, 63, it says input tax of CGST, SGST, IGST. There is no separate thing. You can plead saying that there is no loss to the revenue and it's a fit case, you can fight it. Monish is asking DRC 01 received wherein supplier failed to file 3B and did not pay taxes declared by him in R1. Reason due to cancellation of register. Do we have an option to counter the notice as we have paid the taxes to the supplier? Answer is again doubtful, Mr. Monish. 16 subsection in 16.2, the clause C says that the taxes should have been paid. So that is where you will have to only take recourse from the courts and not at the first appeal also. All right. Raghav is asking DRC 1 issued directly for 1920 without ASMT 10. Possible, Raghav. There is no mandatory that you should have an ASMT 10 before DRC 01. What you can please, why DRC 01? Why not DRC 01A? It's like, I don't know. Without, you cannot suddenly create a demand. You can say that DRC 01A should be issued in the current case. All right. So now if anyone have any question, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. So it's just 4 o'clock. I have completed my presentation. Let me just share our connect. So if you have any questions, anyone wants to ask, you can unmute yourself and ask. All right, great. Thanks for your participation, and do attend the sessions regularly. Do subscribe for the software. It's like today's is the era of computer technology, and if someone continues to use a manual era, saying that I know Excel, I'm very good at with VBA, X lookups, pivots, I'm happy with my life. Answer is no. That is not the future we are living into. It is like, just because you have a car, like someone has a Maruti car, they cannot take it to F1, not even F1, they can't take it to F5 race, right? So where the need of the day is quality, accuracy, and the handling volume, having a software will always help you to achieve the requirements of the professional quality and other disciplines. Yeah. On this note, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Utkarsh. Thank you, Pranit. We'll catch up for the next session.
When I have one question.
Yes, Shakti sir. Go ahead.
So for the reversal, we have to report what is the credit taken, what is to be credit taken. No. So
Right.
Is there any report in GSTZen for that?
Yeah, sir. Whenever you are uploading your ITC register, you will have to tag them whether you want to mark it under 4B1 or 4B2. Whatever is in 4B1, it is like a permanent reversal. It will never, you want to take it. Whatever is in 4B2 is something you will have deferred and you want to take credit on a future date. So you can download the ITC register, and which is in an Excel, you can filter it. But what I can also request the team is to give this report on the face, saying that these are the credits not availed and deferred. Maybe request Utkarsh to make note of this and create instead of Excel on the screen, also make this report available.
Sure, sir.
So the credit taken also, the previous year credit taken also, it will come in the report. Am I right?
Yes.
For example,
It would come in the report. Correct.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
So the credit taken for right, this month I have reversed, next month I have taken. So we have to declare in the 4B the credit is taken. What is 2B? Okay. So that will come in the report, or we have to identify, then the report will come.
Yes. Right now it is like in the Excel, someone has to update and upload. What I have requested the team is on the screen, we can put filters and just download it. Which are the credits that I've taken in this month, something like that. It would be coming on the system itself.
No. So here my question is, I have 10 line items for credit taken this month. Okay. Out of 10, all are eligible.
Correct.
Okay. So in the GS government portal, there is a 15 line items.
Right.
So the 5 line items should be the credit to be taken in the reversal in the 4B2.
Correct.
Am I right? So next month I have taken for this 5 line items, then current month credit. Then how it will filter this credit cash take reversal in next month taken this report? We have to report in 4D, no?
Yeah. So I got your point. Let me explain. So in GSTZen, the Excel, you have a feature to classify the credit timeline periods. So the first month you will be reporting. See, even in the first month, you have to take and reverse in 4B2. And in the next month, so there is a claim month. There is a field called claim month. By default, if you don't fill in anything, the claim month will be tagged to the invoice month. But you can change it to the month in which you want to claim. So let's say 3 months later, you want to take the credit. So the claim month you can enter in that Excel as the next month. So when you upload in the data, it is stored that a purchases of the April credit is taken, let's say in July. Things like that, you can track it.
No, what sometimes we have a difference in what is the credit in GSTZen, what is credit in the GST2B. Some minor difference is coming.
Okay.
So
Maybe I think we can catch up one-on-one, and there are, because there are 3 reports that are currently coming. One report is by invoice date.
Yeah.
And an invoice is of April, you have accounted in May. So by accounting date, by claim date. So which report we are trying to compare with what with the portal, we'll have to see. So a value could be appearing in like on a larger scale, it will match, but the periods, it will not match. So maybe we can connect one-on-one and see how to verify that report so that it will match with you. We will connect after the session, sir.
Okay. Another last question.
No
So
problem.
is there any report for GSTR7 and GSTR1 comparison?
Right now, no, sir, not in Zen.
Because we have received notices from the all the states. There is a mismatch of GSTR on GSTR7. They have, for example, the payment made that the TDS deducted.
Right, I get that.
So that's why I'm asking, is there any report?
No, that report is not there. Again, Utkarsh requests you to build the credits taken via e-commerce credit, GST are 8 related or 7 related, the credits that are coming vis-a-vis 2B. So one reconciliation report can be built. So you can commit back to them when that would be available. So please make note of this.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shakti sir. Any other questions? All right. So once again, thank you everyone for your participation. Looking forward for the future session. Thank you and goodbye.